Previously on Ape Among Us.
I think there's a host of cryptozoological mysteries out there.
There's a lot of devil monkey stories around. I've heard of the Danville one.
Since no one was paying attention, the Danville devil monkey escaped to the town forest where it haunts the woods to this very day.
Yeah, that monkey, whether it was something that just didn't belong here or something that was from another dimension.
Devil monkeys are said to be devilish creatures with long fangs and glowing eyes. They're described as being between 3 and 8 feet long with baboon or dog-like snouts. They can run on all fours or 2 legs. They have dark brown hairy backs and bushy tails. These ferocious primates have been reported to attack humans and kill livestock and pets. Reports of devil monkeys have long come from all over the eastern United States. In 1973, Loren Coleman investigated reports of slaughtered livestock in Albany, Kentucky, and said that witnesses seemed to be sincere about seeing monkey-like creatures with tails. An anonymous witness reported in 2006 that when they returned to their Chicago home, they found a devilish creature savagely attacking the family dog. The man reported the devil-like beast had glowing eyes and sprang up when he tried to take a picture. He described it as monkey-like with a devilish dog face. He said he knew of one other person seeing it hang from a tree and that his neighborhood was plagued by missing pets.
One of the devil monkey legends is from right here in Danville, New Hampshire. Our gripping tale starts in late August 2001 when Fire Chief David Kimball saw a baboon-like creature jump alongside his truck on Kingston Road.
I lived in neighboring East Hampstead at the time, so I definitely remember the buzz around town.
Danville, New Hampshire is nestled within southeastern New Hampshire in Rockingham County. It's one of those towns that's not on a main road, so it's kept its quiet, classic colonial charm, as you can see right here in this neighborhood and some of these old buildings. It's historical, old farmland, old stone walls. It's gorgeous. It stayed that way because it's not on a main road, so it's kind of nestled in a pocket where it's able to keep. There's a few other towns like this. Fremont and Nottingham are the same way. They've changed little over the years.
Legend has it that after a report of an 8-foot monkey was sighted on Kingston Road by the town's fire chief, rumblings and stories of the elusive beast quickly spread. The locals began to confess witnessing strange events, having bone-chilling encounters, and hearing blood-curdling noises that pierced the night.
The legend of the Danville devil monkey didn't happen till probably the 2000 teens.
These unexplained reports became so frequent that the story was picked up and followed by local radio and news outlets.
One of the stories that had been published at the time that it happened that I read was Kimball did identify a species with what he saw, and that was the Humboldt's woolly monkey.
In late August of 2001, Fire Chief David Kimball said what he saw was a ape-like creature, a monkey of sorts, jump out of the wood line, run along his truck, and dart back into the woods.
Startled by what he saw, he immediately went to the public library to look for resources to help identify it.
On August 21st, 2001, there were actually 2 sightings of a primate by Fire Chief David Kimball. According to locals we met at the Webster Stagecoach Stop and General Store, he first saw it hanging in a tree along Pleasant Street, and then it jumped down and ran alongside his truck for a few strides on Kingston Road before it darted into the woods. Now, Chief immediately knew that it was not native to Danville's woods, so he headed down to the town library where Dottie the librarian helped him with resources and finding other information. Off camera, we got a chance to talk with Dottie. We asked her about his demeanor. She told us he was rather calm. Although she didn't give us much more detail, we know from earlier reports that she spent about 3 hours with him, helping him find resource books and making photocopies. After some deliberation, they determined that it was a Humboldt's woolly monkey, an exotic species found in equatorial South America.
News and police were alerted, and other reports of sightings of the monkey came in the town as well. The story is that he reported to be 8 feet tall. That's a big monkey.
It's rare for a human to grow to 8 feet tall, so it's been a common understanding that no monkeys are 8 feet tall. In fact, no known apes are 8 feet tall.
There's some guesses that maybe the length of the animal he saw is partially due to the length of the tail, and he may have been kind of, not confusing, but
So-
equating the length of the entirety of the animal. When you say 8-foot monkey, do you mean a 4-foot body with a 4-foot tail, or do you mean 8-foot monkey with a 4-foot tail? What do you mean?
Because there's no monkeys or known apes that are 8 feet tall.
Of course, and there's none in New Hampshire if there was.
So the idea of an 8-foot monkey running through the streets of Danville didn't seem realistic. So the story got a lot of attention.
Being reported as an 8-foot monkey, it made the news. Radio stations were goofing on it, sending DJs in gorilla costumes. All kinds of theories came out, whether it was a cryptid, whether it was a monkey on the loose. The story kind of grew to the point where it was going to make national morning news, or the morning shows. 2 planes hit the World Trade Centers on 9/11, so that kind of ended the story of the devil monkey.
The concern was that it was a pet that nobody was willing to claim, so it was imperative to find it before the temperatures dropped.
I think there would have been a lot more investigation around it if it had not had its attention so quickly. I mean, within the same year, just cut off, obviously.
Yeah.
Even after the tragic events of 9/11, there were people trying to save the vulnerable simian.
Jason Schreiber from the Union Leader followed with the story as researchers, animal rescue teams were trying to find an elusive monkey before it died in this cold, harsh New England climate.
We're here at the Danville Town Forest, and this is the time of year where that devil monkey would have been on the loose, ripping through these woods. And this is where everybody says they hear screams. There's some crazy stuff going on. So we're going to get in here, kind of check it out a little bit. It is really a gloomy day, but that adds to the creep factor, right? It's seasons are turning. It's definitely getting cooler and damper. And
Yeah, that monkey, whether it was something that just didn't belong here or something that was from another dimension.
These are some of the same raw conditions the monkey would have had to compete with for survival. And if it didn't belong here, it had no clue that its days were numbered.
It's interesting. Sometimes I've heard those things called OOPS, out of place species, which is the best acronym of all time, obviously. Sometimes it's a creature that gets away it's a creature that doesn't belong in that area, right? Sometimes it gets away from something else. Sometimes maybe it sets up shop, right? There's always invasive species. A good example of what you just talked about is Peninsula, Ohio. Peninsula, Ohio every year celebrates Python Days because in the 70s, maybe it was 50s or 70s, a python started terrorizing the town. They don't know where it came from, escaped pet, circus, giant python, scaring people. They couldn't catch it. They kept waiting for it to get to wintertime, so hopefully it would just die. Wintertime came, they couldn't find it. So to this day, half a century, 75 years later, every Python Day, they start wrapping snakes. It's almost like garland to them. They wrap snakes around their banisters and their mantelpieces. They have a parade of pythons. So that's an example of something that became not really a legend, right? Because they didn't turn this python into something fantastical. It didn't become a different creature. It's still just a python. That's a creature that actually exists. But they turned it into a symbol of the town somehow, either because it's funny, for whatever reason. So there's a lot of emotions that go into that. It could be people just find delight. Again, you just told me that story the first time I found this. It's a funny story. It's like, a monkey running through the woods of New Hampshire and everybody trying to find it, and August, first responders getting interviewed about monkeys. It's delightful to me, right? So I think that's part of it, right? It's a bit of whimsy in it, and again, a bit of wonder as well. So I think that's part of it, because for you to throw a party around it, become an identity or a opportunity to celebrate, you kind of don't have to, you kind of can't take it seriously, right? There's a difference between a church celebration and a Halloween celebration, right? One is sacred, they have to be a little more august. The other is just a party, right? So these things that turn into Mothman festivals, yeah, especially when there's civic leaders involved and officiating it, they're having fun with it. I think that's the important part. That's what turns it into something bigger than it was. Because otherwise, it's easy to just write off as, you can tell that story in a way where it's boring, right? Oh, a monkey was found in the woods of New Hampshire and got away. At the end, right? And it's a boring story. But if you see the whimsy in it, that's what makes it bigger and bigger and bigger. I'll tell you what doesn't turn it into something bigger is the other side of that is somebody being super serious about it, right? Being like, no, that's a devil monkey. That's literally a supernatural creature. I'm going to study it. I'm going to become that guy, right? I'm going to study it until my hair gets long, until I lose my family, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't turn into anything when somebody does that. It's when somebody says, that's awesome. Glad that happened. How can we continue that spirit, right? So I think that's how it turns into something bigger.
It doesn't mean the story stopped for us. I mean,
Yeah,
we're kind
no.
of going around.
I consider the story still very open-ended. I don't think that we, especially since Kimball has passed away at this point, I don't think we'll ever really figure out what happened.
Although the monkey or carcass was never found, reports and sightings did carry on throughout the years in Danville. In 2012, a Haverhill, Mass. Resident, while visiting her parents, called the police and reported seeing a monkey climb up a tree. She said it had a white bottom and dark fur, and it walked up the tree like a human. According to a story from Jason Schreiber for the Manchester Union Leader, the officer on duty had passed it off as a raccoon or a porcupine. But Michelle Andino was convinced that she saw a monkey and that she had never heard about the story from 2001. In 2016, near Walpole, New Hampshire and Bellows Falls, Vermont, police regret making a Facebook post about the possibility of a monkey running loose after reports of a sighting on Route 21. They later deleted it.
A lot of these people will take these primates in as a baby. And then as they get older, they get harder to handle. So that may be we're just going to dump it off here and let it be.
Right, and let Mother Nature take care of it. When somebody who's lived here their whole life sees something a little different than they're used to, it could cause and trigger a hysteria. And likely that's what Danville was. It was a misidentification of an out-of-place species, and because there was no scientific evidence to fill any of the holes, folklore and legend and the supernatural and superstition and all that stuff came to play.
Devil monkey sightings are not new to New Hampshire, but usually end up just being monkeys on the loose. In 2009, a macaque escaped from an enclosure at Charming Fair Farm in Candia. When a worker left 2 doors unlocked, the worker was bitten on his calf when trying to recapture the animal.
He did have one that he had taken in on rescue, and he has now been placed in an actual primate sanctuary that he is with.
Do you know about that story?
I do not have any history. I don't have, other than I know that he was here as a rescue, and I know that they were able to locate him a home so that he was in a safe zone with others of his kind.
Do you know how long he was on the loose?
I don't know. I think it was moments. I don't think it was a long thing.
Because there's other stories of monkeys in southern New Hampshire, and they're still unsolved.
Yeah.
From 2001, 2012, and around New England. So one of the interesting stories, and we happened to come here, and I had to ask.
No.
So.
Junior was, I think, out for a very short run, and he is in a very happy place right now.
Charming Fair Farm is not only a working farm in Candia, New Hampshire, but it hosts North American wildlife like black bears, wolves, bobcats, and raccoons. It's a great place throughout the year to find an event, from a magic show, concert, haunted hayride, or the Scouting for Bigfoot event.
All right, we are here in Candia, New Hampshire. We are about to attend the Charming Fair Farm Bigfoot Scouting event. Bigfoot Scouting event. High expectations.
Yes.
Hopefully the weather holds up. We're able to scout. It's looking a little overcast this morning.
Yes.
So we'll see if the weather's gonna hold up. We got a booth there, right?
We do.
Okay.
We put a cool thing together. This is the first event for us, and it's the first event at Charming Fair like this and in New Hampshire, so we're excited about it.
Absolutely.
We got Richie B from Massachusetts. We got Dave McCullough from Squatch and Shoes. We got the Vogel brothers. We got all kinds of personalities.
Yeah, Mike, to be honest, I hear a lot of these stories, and it's only so believable. Like, people say they see it when they're a kid, but don't realize what it is until they're an adult. But for me, I don't know. There's just some things that are believable. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard it. I don't know. I can't subscribe to be like, yeah, it's out there. Especially if I haven't seen anything that's even compelling evidence.
I hear stories all the time of people hearing things when they were younger and then learning about Bigfoot and then deciding that's what it was. That's their stories. I hear stories all the time. And right now, I can only take them in and be supportive and try to get what I can out of them.
I haven't had an encounter myself. So I take these stories for what they are in hopes that maybe if it's out there, then show me.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I can do. I can't necessarily take somebody out for their thoughts or their stories or the way they've come to their conclusions until I've kind of seen it. So show me Bigfoot, show me your evidence.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was the first chance I got to meet Crystal Panek. She was sent by the BFRO to Hanukkah with Steve Kulls, and she brought along a good friend of hers, Alex Petikoff, who I met in Portland. She's a local researcher, so I had to ask her, are there really Bigfoot here in New Hampshire?
Bigfoot is definitely here in New Hampshire. We have, you know, if you go to the BFRO website, we only have 16 public cases, but in reality, we have hundreds of cases.
We've done it through our group, even over the weekend, lots and lots of reports, and honestly, things that are kind of helping us put more pieces of the puzzle together, I guess.
Yep, and I'm actually really excited you guys are here, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys, really, because we need more people to know that Bigfoot is here in New Hampshire. And I'm not a social media type person. I very rarely post. I'm not, you know, I'm a Microsoft engineer by trade, but I don't do too much other than gaming on the computer. So it's nice to be able to have you guys here and be able to coordinate with you guys and try to team up.
Yeah, and we don't mind being the voice and getting the word out.
Yeah,
and
I'm
putting
excited.
together interviews and stuff.
Yeah, and being able to just, you know, coordinate our databases and maybe even, you know, bounce things off one another, I think is going to be great, because Bigfoot is definitely here in New Hampshire, and to be able to get word out that we're here and Bigfoot's here, and share your encounters with us, and it's not taboo, and please don't be scared to share your reports.
Up until this point, Richie and I had communicated very little. There was still a little something going on between us from Hanukkah. We'd never met face to face. This was the moment we got to size each other up.
Richie B. What's up, dude? The answer with Richie B. It has been long overdue. I don't know why we haven't done this sooner, to be honest.
And more often.
Or more often.
Yeah.
Mike, people.
How's it going, Rich?
What's up, brother?
Welcome.
Welcome. I know. Now I'm tables are kind of turned,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Jeez, at least I had a camera between us, not in a sense like this, but you were on a screen. I felt a lot safer. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we had to put our pants on for this one.
That big? Do I look that big?
You are jacked. Ouch, that hurt.
We're here to talk all things Bigfoot, man.
Yes, I love it.
I've never really heard your full story about why you believe in Bigfoot and the evidence you've seen and what's compelled you to continue searching.
It's crazy because I'm a guy that didn't go out looking for anything.
Right.
I own 3 acres in what's called the Bridgewater Triangle in Massachusetts. And I'd say about 2008 or so, I started noticing different noises, sounds from the woods. And it was literally like somebody was walking around. But the thing is, you could say, oh, it's woods, somebody's walking around the woods. So I started hearing walking around and breaks and stuff. I didn't think much of it. I found myself at night, like on the couch, going, what was that sound? Right. You know what I mean? Like, what was out there breaking stuff? And it went on, this went on for months, like 6 months. And then I started noticing events happening in my house closer to me. Okay. One particular time I was out in the yard raking around this fire pit I have, cleaning up all the loose wood and stuff. And I heard something walk, and I didn't look yet. I was raking, and I heard about I'd say about 8 to 10 inch elm for oak. Yeah, snap in one pull. It went, and I turned like this, and I just saw it coming down. So I just froze. I absolutely froze, and I went, what in the hell was that? So I grabbed my phone, I held my phone up, and I said, come on, where you at? And I held my phone up, and you can hear it on my YouTube channel. The thing goes, but I couldn't see it. I swear it had to be no more than 50 yards from me, but it was locked into that dense area. And at first I was brave, right?
Sure.
You get that man thing, and I'm like, this is your property, this is my. yeah, Richie B. And I'm like,
No, to Bigfoot, you're Richard.
Yeah, hello, Richard. And I'm like, you stay there, I'll stay here. This is my property. You respect. And I'm talking to it, and then I go, and then it hits me. The fight or flight human thing hits me. Like, what am I doing? I just heard a guttural sound with a creature I can't see. Yeah. So I have about an acre of grass fenced in, so I started backing up to the street where I felt safer. And I literally had my hands on my knees like this, and I had a process. Yep. And it went on for like 5 minutes, and then I called a buddy of mine, and he's a preacher in South Carolina. And I'm like, I call him and I said, I'm gonna send you a video, and I don't know what just happened in my life, but it changed. And he's like, what are you talking about?
And I sent it, and he goes, dude, something growled at you. And I said, yeah, man. I said, remember all the noises I told you I've been hearing? He's like, yeah. I said, I just put something physical with it.
Richard, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Where's the body? Where's Bigfoot's body?
I mean, we found. Listen, first of all, a lot of things decay pretty rapidly when you're dealing with compost. As far as animals go, I don't see a lot of bear bones either. You know what I mean? I find kill sites and stuff like that, but a lot of the bones are missing, right? Yeah, there's a bear pelt there, but I think that's Mike's blanket. He sleeps with at night.
Cuddles.
Yeah, he noticed the face on it.
Small.
Yeah, little spoon. But so I don't necessarily think. There's also been theories, which some of them are out there a little bit. Native American mounds, a lot of them are supposedly buried there. I don't know how much I buy in that, but I have heard theories like that. I've heard of them burying their own. They do supposedly have a human element to them. So that's a possibility, right? It's not totally out of the realm of possibility. Again, we're dealing with something that isn't scientifically discovered. So why would you leave any stone unturned? Why would you leave any theory shunned upon? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to me. How are we doing ourselves in this real justice?
Absolutely.
If we don't look at everything.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right, so one thing I want to say to Mike is that Mike has a great theory and I want to utilize this theory. We want to try to bring this to New England more.
Yeah.
New England needs to be recognized on the map as a major Sasquatch hub. And not because we want all you going out there acting like yahoos in the woods messing things up. We want you to respect it and understand it. We have more trees in the Northeast, and you brought this point up, than anywhere in America.
Yeah.
It makes no sense if you're out in the Pacific West Coast telling me about the forests and the forest people and all that crap, and you don't put us on the map when we have more forests than you.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. So if we just stay open-minded, respectful with each other, with passion about this subject, and put the best foot forward and go in as boots on the ground investigators, I think we're going to get a lot further than if we just crap all over each other. Right?
Well, you got something to
I do
right now, so
I
we'll
do.
catch up. I'm gonna
I
come
do.
sit on your show.
Yeah, you're gonna.
You gotta interview me now.
I'm gonna.
All right.
Oh, I got something for you. Wait, you got to lose those though.
What?
We don't do pants on my show. Nice meeting you, bro. Thanks for having me.
So we're about ready to wrap it up here at the Charming Fair Scouting for Bigfoot event. We got actually tornado warnings, and it's about almost 2 o'clock. So we're going to probably have to say goodbye. We had a great weekend. Even though we got some rain that kind of washed us out and cut us short yesterday, we did get some more interviews today. We got some cool stuff. Yeah, it was good. We made a lot of connections with people, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun here in New England with Bigfoot. These days, most of southern New Hampshire is covered with industrial parks, shopping centers, residential neighborhoods, town centers, and small cities. And although we have the second most forested land of any state in the Union, from the smell of pool chlorine and chemlon, southeastern New Hampshire is as suburban as it gets. Over the last few decades, New Hampshire has seen reforestation and once clear-cut land that for centuries was overlogged, overfarmed, eroded, and polluted. New Hampshire, a once forgotten place after manufacturing and shoe factories left in the 1980s, cleaned up pollution and worked on environmental restoration. Wildlife that had once been pushed out has made a comeback. Black bears, moose, and white-tailed deer, bobcats, and coyotes have all thrived here recently as well. As beautiful as it is, we see a human population increase, creating a high demand for residential dwellings and infrastructure development. I receive reports of Bigfoot-related incidents in and around Pawtucket and Bear Brook State Parks regularly from Bigfoot enthusiasts hiking in the area. Any evidence of footprints or tree structures come from trail cams and cell phone videos, and they usually get a hold of me through social media, either publicly or through discreet back channels. A group like the New Hampshire Bigfoot Society has allowed me to introduce myself to a lot of other enthusiasts and researchers in the area. And despite conflict with some Bigfoot groups, most people are willing to share their stories and findings with good intentions. If Bigfoot is here, does it have enough shelter to protect itself? And enough food sources to survive? I am at the boulder fields here at Pawtucket State Park in New Hampshire, and this is a great spot. Lots of boulders, lots of caves, a lot of cool spots for large game like bears and possibly even a Bigfoot to be hiding out. There is a lot of people here, so the likelihood that a Bigfoot or even a bear would feel comfortable here with so much human interaction is Probably unlikely. The trees here, a lot of white pine, hemlock. Looks like some beech, maybe some red oak. A lot of conifers. So definitely a cool spot. What we wanted to check out was just the diversity of terrain out here. And one of the things that's interesting about these boulders is that it leaves a lot of cave space. The problem here, though, with finding a squatch in this area is the human activity. There seems to be an abundance of human activity. This is one of those places where people really like to come. Even though it's quiet right now, we're still not alone. But these boulders are massive. And like I said, there's a lot of caves, a lot of cool stuff here for large game to hide. And what we're doing is we're looking for any type of evidence that would lead us to Bigfoot might be in this neck of the woods.
To lock down my very own research area, I need to find a place with sufficient resources and where sounds and structures have been reported. Could this be where we set up for an expedition to find evidence of Bigfoot? Not far from the boulder field, we found Round Pond, an area teeming with life and food sources.
What I'm looking for is potential food sources for Bigfoot. And what I see in this pond is a lot of cat o' nine tails. And the cool thing about them is that they're easily dug up and eaten. The roots, even stalks, can be used as food. There's definitely a sign of beaver here and some other animals. And I don't see a lot of invasive species, so it's telling me that this is probably pretty natural out here. So most food sources are going to be natural. Also a lot of amphibians, maybe some small reptiles that would be easy prey for something like a Bigfoot. Catching frogs, salamanders, turtles, and some other cool stuff like that. So there's definitely the potential for some food sources out here. Whether this is it, I'm not sure. I do also see some nut trees, some oaks, some white and red oaks, and some shagbark hickory, which are, of course, sources of protein.
As we walked along the trail, we could hear some sounds not far off into the woodline. Was this it? Were we actually witnessing Bigfoot calls in the middle of Pawtuckaway State Park?
Sounds like coyotes.
Crazy sounds. Hope I got those on camera. That is the creepiest shit. I don't even know what that is. Not sure if those are fucking tree knocks. That's a woodpecker.
When I got home and got a chance to listen to the audio, I realized that it was likely from a barred owl. Barred owl calls are often misidentified as Bigfoot yelps and whoops. Because when you're in the woods, and you've never heard these things before, the way the sound echoes through the valleys and through the woods.
That is the creepiest shit. I don't even know what that is.
It's haunting. It sends shivers down your spine. How long could I have been missing evidence of structures and sounds in my own backyard?
Want to get your Bigfoot on?
In the 80s, described this creature that he saw that basically that jumped in front of the car and ran across. He described it as like a little like troll-like creature.
So if you are telling me that you see Bigfoot, I'm going to be skeptical because not many people do.